But let's move away from River State and the crisis from there and head into the trending video of the NYSC Corps member that trended over the course of the weekend, and we talked briefly about yesterday, where she alleged threat to her life, and of course also coming from her rant, I mean the 30 days challenge, when we talk about the different challenges on social media, to rant about things happening in Nigeria, where she highlighted the suffering of the everyday Nigerian in her video, which went viral. Of course, we saw afterwards she came to narrate how different officials from the NYSC in Lagos State reached out to her, calling on her to take down the video. And we saw how, sections of the law was quoted as reason why she should not. Even our guest yesterday also laid credence to that. But yesterday we saw Sowore alongside the Corps member visit the authorities of the NYSC to answer to the invitation. That was given out to her within the course of the viral video. And then, of course, we also saw lawyers write to the leadership of NYSC as far as this issue is concerned. In the company of Sowore, who also appeared on TV in our sister station yesterday, he talked about the fact that he was in the company of the lady, and of course they visited the NYSC. Unfortunately, he stated that the young lady is under serious, intense pressure to apologize for the comment where she made about the state of the nation. Now, on the heels of that, we see the Director General, National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, plot 416, Tigris Crescent of Agui Ronsi Street, Maitama, FCT, Abuja, Nigeria. Of course, this was addressed to the state coordinator, and pre-action notice calling for caution against the prosecution of court member Rita Osia. This is coming from a law chamber addressed to the leadership of the NYSC. Now, of course, I'll take the introduction of that. Then later is signed by Comrade Ewa Okpo, who is a legal practitioner. Now, of course, the later reads, so we write as concerned legal practitioners, citizens and public interest advocates interested in the recognition, protection and enforcement of the rights of fellow citizens, and on which premise we respectfully write on behalf of one of your core members by name Usia Rita Ogwamaye with code number LA/24B/832, and whose place of primary assignment is within the precinct of Etiosa 3 local government area, hereinafter referred to as the core member, to register the following concerned notices and demands. 1. That the core member, Usia Rita, at some time last week made a social media post in a private time from her home, whereof she lamented about the harshness of the socio-economic reality suffered by her humble self alongside every other Nigerian citizen. That officers of your agency, shortly after she made the said publication, reached out to her with threats and commands to withdraw the said publication, which she further publicized for fear for her life and safety. That the office of the local government inspector of your agency has thereafter summoned the said core member. That we are well aware of the fact that your agency may be want to subject the said core member to a supposed disciplinary trial and punishment, mischievously, nay erroneously relying on section 27 of the NYSC bylaw, which prohibit core members from being rude to constituted authority, viz., and I quote, any member who is rude to constituted authority shall be tried by the core disciplinary committee, and if found guilty, be liable to extension of service for a period not less than 30 days with half pay. Now, it is therefore a humble submission that punishing the said core member by these premise will not only amount to misapplication of the said bylaw, but is concomitant to political prosecution of a Nigerian citizen for exercising a right to freedom of expression guaranteed under Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. It would also mean that if every corps member were to be disciplined for every complaints and lamentations for their frustration they make about the government in their private times and corners, then NYSC would probably not have a single corps member for the passing out parade and ceremonies. Finally, it is a well-considered position that a corps member's public lamentation of a frustration with the leadership of a nation cannot be considered to be rudeness to constituted authority, as the said corps member will have to do so in front of the said constituted authority to be guilty of rudeness. Contempt may have been the appropriate misdemeanor in this instance, but the bylaw does not prohibit contempt. That considering the fact that the said corps member was neither acting before any constituted authority nor within the working hour or premises of a place of primary assignment when the said frustrations were expressed and published, we beg to insist that any act by the agency to interrogate or punish her in the said regard is an overzealous act of prosecution in violation of the right. It is therefore a demand as follows. Now these are the demands: that your agency cease, refrain, and desist from interrogating, trying, prosecuting, and penalizing the said corps member unnecessarily for the said action. That the office or officers of your agency who call to command and threaten the said corps member tender unreserved apology to the said corps member personally and officially. Now take note that we shall not hesitate to institute legal action against the agency and officers of the agency officially and personally, jointly and severally for the enforcement of the corps member's right up to the highest court of the land, should your agency or officers of your agency proceed to prosecute the said corps member unduly and or deny, refuse, reject, neglect, or decline any or all of her demands herein. Take further notice that whereas the NYSC bylaw further restricts the corps member from seeking redress in court without first fulfilling certain procedural conditions, take notice that neither the bylaw nor any law in Nigeria prohibits us as any concerned citizen from insisting legal action, particularly for the enforcement of a fundamental right on her behalf as an act of public interest advocacy. The letter is signed by Comrade Ewaport, of course, submitted to the Lagos NYSC. Different strokes for different folks, you would say, different occasions and different interpretations. Yesterday, if you had joined us, we had a different opinion from the legal representative that we had, and today we're having the concerned lawyers write to the leadership of the nationals, the leadership of the NYSC. And of course, Sowore said the young woman is under pressure to apologize and move he said he's not in support of and will not allow the young lady to apologize in this context. As a developing story, one will continue to monitor and bring you up to date with this development.